JavaScript is a high-level, interpreted programming language primarily used for adding interactivity and dynamic features to web pages. It was created by Brendan Eich at Netscape in 1995 and has since become one of the most popular programming languages on the web. JavaScript code is typically embedded within HTML documents using script tags. JavaScript has a simple syntax that is similar to other programming languages like C, Java, and C++. Statements in JavaScript are terminated by a semicolon. JavaScript can output data to the browser's developer console using console log function. Comments are used to make code more readable and are ignored by the JavaScript interpreter. There are two types of comments in JavaScript: single-line comments multi-line comments. Variables are containers used to store data in JavaScript. Data types define the type of values that can be held by variables. JavaScript is a dynamically typed language, which means you don't need to declare the data type explicitly, it is determined at runtime. Declaring variables. In JavaScript, you can declare variables using three different keywords: var, let, and const. Data types. JavaScript has several built-in data types. Primitive data types. Reference data types. Operators in JavaScript are symbols or keywords used to perform operations on variables or values. They allow you to perform arithmetic calculations, compare values, and manipulate data. JavaScript supports various types of operators. Arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators perform basic mathematical operations. Comparison operators. Comparison operators compare values and return a Boolean true or false result. Logical operators. Logical operators are used to perform logical operations on Boolean values. Assignment operators. Assignment operators are used to assign values to variables. Conditional statements. Conditional statements are used to execute different blocks of code based on certain conditions. The if statement is the most basic conditional statement, followed by else if and else statements to handle multiple conditions. Switch statement. The switch statement allows you to select one of many code blocks to be executed. It evaluates an expression and compares it against multiple cases. If the expression matches a case, the corresponding block of code is executed. Ternary operator. The ternary operator? Smile provides a concise way to write conditional expressions. It's a shorthand for simple if-else statements. Truthy and falsy values. In JavaScript, non-Boolean values have an inherent truthiness or falsiness. This plays an important role in conditional statements. Falsy values: false, 0, empty string, null, undefined. Truthy values: everything else, including non-empty strings, numbers other than 0, arrays, objects, and functions. Short-circuit evaluation. Short-circuit evaluation is a feature of logical operators and/or. It allows the interpreter to skip evaluating the second operand if the result can be determined from the first operand. Loops in JavaScript are used to repeatedly execute a block of code until a certain condition is met. They are essential for performing repetitive tasks and iterating over collections like arrays or objects. JavaScript provides several types of loops. For loop. The for loop is the most common loop used to execute a block of code a fixed number of times. Syntax. While loop. The while loop executes a block of code as long as a specified condition is true. Syntax. Do while loop. The do while loop is similar to the while loop, but it executes the block of code at least once before checking the condition. Syntax. For, in loop. The for, in loop is used to iterate over the properties of an object. Syntax. Syntax. For of loop. The for of loop is used to iterate over the elements of an iterable object, like arrays or strings. Syntax. Break and continue statements. You can use the break statement to exit a loop prematurely, and the continue statement to skip the current iteration and move to the next one. Functions. Functions are reusable blocks of code in JavaScript that perform a specific task or calculation. They allow you to break down complex tasks into smaller, manageable parts, making your code more organized and easier to maintain. Functions are a fundamental concept in programming and play a significant role in JavaScript. Function declaration. To create a function, you use the function keyword followed by the function name, a list of parameters enclosed in parentheses, and the function body enclosed in curly braces. Syntax. Calling functions. After defining a function, you can call it by using its name followed by parentheses, containing the arguments, values, for the parameters. Return statement. Functions can return values using the return statement. When a function is called, the return statement is used to return a specific value to the calling code. Function expressions. In addition to function declarations, you can also create functions using function expressions. In a function expression, the function is assigned to a variable. Arrow functions. Arrow functions are a shorter syntax for writing function expressions. They provide a more concise way to define functions, especially when the function body is a single statement. Function parameters and arguments. Function parameters are the variables listed in the function declaration, and function arguments are the values passed to the function when it is called. The number of arguments should match the number of parameters. Default parameters. You can assign default values to function parameters. If an argument is not passed for a parameter, the default value will be used. Arrays. Arrays are a type of data structure in JavaScript that allows you to store multiple values of different data types in a single variable. Arrays are useful for organizing and managing collections of data, such as lists of numbers, strings, objects, or even other arrays. Creating arrays. You can create an array using square brackets and separating the elements with commas. Accessing array elements. Array elements are accessed using zero-based index. The first element has an index of 0, the second element has an index of 1, and so on. Array length. You can get the number of elements in an array using the length property. Array methods. JavaScript provides many built-in methods to manipulate arrays. Push and pop. Push adds elements to the end of the array. Pop removes the last element from the array. Shift and unshift. Unshift adds elements to the beginning of the array. Shift removes the first element from the array. Splice. The splice method is used to add, remove, or replace elements at a specific index in an array. Slice. The slice method extracts a portion of an array into a new array without modifying the original array. Concat. The concat method combines two or more arrays and returns a new array. Objects. Objects are another fundamental data structure in JavaScript used to store and organize related data as key-value pairs. Unlike arrays that use numerical indices, objects use descriptive keys, also called properties, to access values. Objects are used to represent real-world entities and complex data structures. Creating objects. You can create an object using curly braces and defining properties as key-value pairs. Accessing object properties. You can access object properties using dot notation or square brackets. Object constructors. In JavaScript, you can create objects using constructor functions. Constructor functions act as blueprints for creating new objects with the same properties and methods. Scope. Scope refers to the context in which variables are declared and accessed. In JavaScript, variables can have either global scope or local scope. Global scope. Variables declared outside of any function have global scope, meaning they can be accessed from anywhere in the code, including within functions. Local scope. Variables declared within a function have local scope. meaning they can only be accessed within that function and are not visible outside of it. DOM manipulation. DOM or Document Object Model manipulation is a crucial aspect of JavaScript when working with web pages. The DOM represents the structure of an HTML document as a tree-like structure of nodes, where each node corresponds to an element, attribute, or text in the document. JavaScript allows you to interact with and modify the DOM dynamically, enabling you to create interactive and dynamic web pages. Accessing DOM elements. You can access DOM elements using various methods provided by JavaScript. GetElement by id, gets an element by its unique ID attribute. GetElements by class name, gets a collection of elements with a specific class name. GetElements by tag name, gets a collection of elements with a specific tag name. Query selector, gets the first element that matches a CSS selector. Query selector all, gets all elements that match a CSS selector. Modifying DOM elements. After accessing DOM elements, you can modify their content, attributes, and styles. Enter and text content, change the content of an element. Set attribute, set attributes of an element. Class list, manipulate CSS classes of an element. Event handling. JavaScript allows you to add event listeners to DOM elements to respond to user interactions. Creating and modifying elements. JavaScript allows you to create new DOM elements and append them to the document. Asynchronous JavaScript is a programming paradigm in which certain tasks are executed independently of the main program flow. In traditional synchronous programming, tasks are executed sequentially, one after the other. However, in asynchronous programming, tasks can be executed concurrently, allowing the program to perform multiple operations simultaneously. Asynchronous JavaScript is particularly important for handling tasks that might take some time to complete, such as fetching data from servers, reading files, or performing animations. It prevents the program from becoming unresponsive while waiting for time-consuming operations to finish. Asynchronous techniques. There are several techniques used in JavaScript for handling asynchronous operations. Callbacks. Callbacks are functions that are passed as arguments to other functions and are executed once the asynchronous task is completed. They were one of the earliest ways to handle asynchronous operations in JavaScript. Promises. Promises were introduced in ES6 as a cleaner alternative to callbacks for handling asynchronous operations. A promise represents the eventual completion, or failure, of an asynchronous operation and allows you to attach callbacks to handle the resolved value or any errors. Async/await. Async/await is a modern and more readable approach to handling asynchronous operations in JavaScript. It is built on top of promises and allows you to write asynchronous code that looks like synchronous code. Error handling in JavaScript. Error handling is an essential aspect of programming that involves identifying, managing, and recovering from errors that may occur during the execution of a program. In JavaScript, errors can arise due to various reasons, such as incorrect input, network issues, or unexpected behavior. Proper error handling helps in creating robust and stable applications by gracefully handling unexpected situations. Types of errors. In JavaScript, there are different types of errors. Syntax errors. These occur when the code violates the language's rules and cannot be parsed or executed. Runtime errors, exceptions. These occur during the execution of the code when something unexpected happens, such as accessing an undefined variable or dividing by 0. Logical errors. These errors do not produce any error messages, but they cause the program to behave unexpectedly due to incorrect logic or calculations. Try-catch statement. The try-catch statement allows you to handle exceptions, runtime errors, gracefully by providing a block of code to be executed in the event of an error. Syntax. Finally block. You can use the finally block along with try-catch to specify a block of code that will be executed regardless of whether an error occurs or not. It is commonly used to clean up resources or perform cleanup tasks. Syntax. Throwing custom errors. You can also throw custom errors using the throw statement. This allows you to create your own error messages and handle them in the catch block. AJAX, Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. AJAX is a set of web development techniques that allows you to send and receive data from a web server asynchronously without the need to reload the entire web page. It enables the creation of more interactive and dynamic web applications by fetching data in the background and updating specific parts of the page without requiring a full page refresh. How AJAX works. Traditionally, web pages would require a complete reload every time the user interacted with the page or requested new data. AJAX, on the other hand, allows you to send requests to the server and handle responses in the background while the user continues to interact with the page. This asynchronous behavior leads to a smoother and more responsive user experience. Using AJAX in JavaScript. AJAX in JavaScript can be achieved using the XML HTTP request object or the newer Fetch API. The XML HTTP request object has been around for a long time and is still widely used, while the Fetch API provides a more modern and easier to use approach. Using XML HTTP request. Using Fetch API. JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. JSON, JavaScript Object Notation, is a lightweight data interchange format used for exchanging data between a server and a web application. It is based on a subset of JavaScript object literal notation but is language independent, meaning it can be used with any programming language that supports data structures like objects and arrays. JSON is widely used due to its simplicity, readability, and ease of use. JSON syntax. JSON data consists of key-value pairs, similar to JavaScript object literals. The keys must be strings, and the values can be strings, numbers, objects, arrays, booleans, or null. Parsing JSON data. To work with JSON data in JavaScript, you need to parse the JSON string into a JavaScript object using the JSON.parse method. Stringifying JavaScript objects to JSON. To convert a JavaScript object into a JSON string, you can use the JSON.stringify method. Working with JSON and HTTP requests. JSON is commonly used in HTTP requests and responses when exchanging data with servers. When making an API request, the server often responds with JSON data that needs to be parsed to extract the required information.